Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. To begin today's video, I just wanted to start by saying a huge thank you to everyone who has been supporting me so far. Over the past week, I have been absolutely inundated with messages and emails and comments from so many people with positivity and words of encouragement, and that is truly the biggest gift I could receive. I was super nervous about starting this channel to begin with. I wasn't sure what the overall reactions would be, and you guys have just been so supportive, so sweet, and it makes me feel good about the content I'm putting out. And as I get further into this journey of being a YouTuber, it makes me feel like what I have to say people are interested in hearing. So thank you guys, you all know who you are, and I'm really excited to start planning more content and start putting out more videos more consistently. So I'm slowly getting the hang of this, and to begin also, or before I begin, I owe an apology to my editor and to everyone who's viewed my first video. I made a very beginner's mistake and filmed the entire thing vertically rather than horizontally, so I do apologize for the video being slightly cropped. I was viciously reprimanded by my editor, who's a longtime friend, so we genuinely had a really good laugh about it, but I promise I am a fast learner, and from here on out this channel will have nothing but exceptional quality videos filmed horizontally. So I wanted to talk to you guys about a really interesting question that someone asked, a very valid one too, because I've never really explained this before, and that question was, what is allieetoile? What does it mean? How did I come up with it? What is the significance to it in my life? And how is it manifested into what it is today? And so I have to give you the full backstory on this, and basically when I first started looking at ballet as more than just a hobby, to do it seriously, professionally, I was about 12, turning 13 years old. And as a 12, 13-year-old wannabe ballerina would do, I went on the internet. And in very short order, I had decided that dancing for the Birmingham Royal Ballet, the London Royal Ballet, or Paris Opera Ballet, those were always my top 3 dream companies. And I did my homework, and I kind of came to the conclusion that, yeah, one day I'll be a principal dancer at one of these respective companies, which that would still be an amazing, I mean, I have to say that is still my dream. We're still working on it. Check back in a couple of years on that one. But at 12, 13 years old, I really just fell in love with all things about being a professional ballet dancer. I found it to be the coolest thing that I could ever think about doing with my life. So that was initially what started this love for this art form and wanting to do it. But where did the étoile come from? So 13-year-old Allie thought that this principal dancer title was the most coveted position, up until the point when I had an opportunity to go to the Paris Opera Ballet School, and I learned about their étoiles, which, for those of you who don't know, étoile in French means star, and that is what they consider in the Paris Opera Ballet ranking system to be a level higher than principal, and so you're like a superstar type ballet dancer. And that, to me, was just, again, another eye-opening moment of, wow, like, I would love to achieve that level of greatness in my career. And so, somewhere along the lines of growing up, it kind of became a nickname from my family members, and it became an email account, or my Instagram handle being allieetoile. And it's funny because people used to think it was allieetoile or allieetoile, and I never really corrected anyone. I just, left it allieetoile. But yeah, as I got older, it became less of a joke. I mean, not that it ever was a joke, but it became less of this little girl dreaming about being an étoile ballerina to be looking at it from the standpoint of, it's a subtle reminder to when I first started out and how naive I was to really the brutal, hard lifestyle it is to be a ballet dancer at times. And when I'm in those places, when it is hard, and when I'm feeling down about myself, I remind myself of when I was 12 and 13 and thinking and dreaming, and it inspires me to realize that where I am is an amazing place to be at my age, and I still have my entire career ahead of me to work to hopefully get to that place at some point in time. So it's a subtle little reminder for me, and my whole family jumped on board with it, even to the degree of I had a family heirloom piece of jewelry that my grandmother gave to me, and she had allieetoile inscribed on it. And yeah, it's kind of followed me throughout the years. So it's not really anything too crazy, too exciting, but it means something to me. And it's just one of those things it just stuck. I never really felt the need to get rid of it. So that was basically how allieetoile came to be and what it means to me. And today, you know, it has a kind of, I guess it has a nice ring to it, I don't know. And yeah, shoot for the stars type mentality. It keeps me humble of knowing where I came from, but also keeps me dreaming about the future and my future goals and aspirations in my art form. So that's the scoop with allieetoile and how that came to be. So another interesting question that was sent to me was about my pointe shoes, and you guys were asking what kind of pointe shoes do I wear, how do I prepare them, and yeah, what do I like to do with them. So I wear custom Freed of London pointe shoes, and I use just the classic pros. I have them cut down and measured to my specifications. I use the Fishmaker in case anyone is wondering, and I don't really have a big complicated pointe shoe prep. I do darn my pointe shoes. I darn around the tips of them, and I do this because it helps me with proprioceptive awareness. I like to really be dancing on my shoes rather than over them. This is just my personal preference. Everyone's different. And as far as really breaking them in, I don't really do too much to them because of the customizations that I have done to them. I honestly can just sew them up, slip them on, and they're pretty much ready to go. The one thing about Freed of London, they are traditionally speaking very soft shoes. So when I was dancing in the United States, I used to use a product called Jet Glue, which is an industrial strength rapid dry super glue that many dancers will put into their shoes to preserve their shelf life or to bring them back to life after they have died, which is basically, if you're not a ballet dancer, if you hear someone say, oh, my shoes are dead, basically means that your pointe shoes are too soft to dance in anymore. So unfortunately, Jet Glue is not so easily accessible over here, and I have my family members bring me bottles over when they come and visit me. But the one thing that Birmingham Royal Ballet does provide the dancers with is a product called shellac. And the best way I can describe it is it kind of looks like maple syrup. It's kind of this yellowy brown clear liquid. And we just dump it into our shoes. I don't know if you can see this in the lighting. It's a little bit messy. It kind of gets all over the place, and it does this focus? Yeah, it kind of seeps through the shoes a little bit. But I really actually quite like this product. The only thing I don't like about it is that it's not a rapid dry. You do have to let it dry overnight before it hardens all the way. But yeah, it works pretty much the same as Jet Glue. The only thing I do like better about it is that sometimes when I Jet Glue my shoes, they tend to get pretty noisy because the Jet Glue hardens up and gets a little bit clunky sounding. And the shellac honestly just really dries, it soaks into the shoe nicely and keeps the shoe nice and soft, which especially now that we're getting ready to dance Swan Lake again is super important, because I think there's something to be said about being in the audience, watching a corps de ballet and having their shoes just be silent. It definitely contributes to that surrealism that Swan Lake has to offer, especially in the fourth act, where if you've seen Sir Peter Wright's production, which is what we're doing, you see the swans emerge from the smoke-covered stage. Well, I can't tell you, you guys have to come and check it out. If you're in Birmingham or anywhere in the United Kingdom, I will be sure to add our tour dates, because we have a few more touring locations where we're going to: Salford, Sunderland, just outside of Manchester. So we've got a lot of really cool places that we're going, as well as we're going to be in Birmingham opening up in the next 2 weeks. So if you're around and you'd love to come see it, or come say hello to me, I'm happy to meet you. But yeah, it's an amazing production, and again, the amount of point shoes we go through in this production is just uncanny. I mean, I'm going through about 2 pairs of point shoes per show. And when we have a double show day, that's sometimes 4 pairs of point shoes a day. So yeah, having products like Jet Glue, like shellac, really prolong the life of my shoes, and they'll help me get another wear or so out of them. And yeah, I mean, I don't wear, I'm trying to think what else. As far as care for my toes on the inside of my point shoes, I'm a little bit strange. I don't wear anything at all. I don't wear any toe pads, any lamb's wool, any sort of interior cushioning. The only thing I'll really do from time to time is tape my toes, and that's as needed. I just use a very thin cloth tape. I do have calluses on my toes, so that pretty much prevents me from getting blisters from time to time. And other than that, I mean, I'm a firm believer that if you have a good fitting point shoe, you are much less likely to get injured. You are much less likely to get blisters or any sort of toe or foot associated disease. I don't want to call it a disease. I don't know. People can get corns or really some interesting issues with toenails and stuff like that. So I haven't had any of that, and I do associate that to having a properly fitted point shoe and also knowing my own individual needs for how to take care of my feet. So if you guys want any more feedback or any more info on what I do to take care of my feet or even my body after ballet, I'm happy to share that with you guys, because I do think that our career requires so much maintenance when we're not even at work. You know, ballet is one of those careers that's really, when you're at work, but when you come home, what you do at home and in your everyday life does affect your performance the next day at work. So I'd love to talk with you guys more about that. If that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comment section below. Or if you have any questions, feel free to send them in on any of my social channels, Instagram, Facebook, obviously YouTube. And if you guys haven't been able to check it out yet, I've recently published my brand new website, and it talks about all things in regards to my professional career, as well as allieetoile and my channel, and a lot of fun, exciting things that I do in my own personal life that I'm happy to share with you all. So enough about ballet. I got to get back to work because I've got a little bit of a break now, and I got to get warmed up again because we are doing another full call of Swan Lake. I've got a brand new position that I'm doing in the Swans, and so I need to make sure that I am mentally and physically prepared to do that, because it is it's quite a difficult ballet for the girls. It's tiring, number one. It's very hard work, but it's rewarding work. At the end of the day, when I come home and am exhausted, it feels good. It feels like, yeah, I did a really good job today. And Swan Lake is one of those ballets, in my opinion, because it is so physically taxing for the girls. It's one of those things that when you get home at the end of the day, you can reflect and think about how much you did, how much you gave, artistically, technically, emotionally, and yeah, it makes me feel good. It makes me value this career, and it makes me value that even when we're not on stage performing for a public audience, it makes me value the process, because most of our careers, and it does depend company to company and dancer to dancer, but a good majority of a dancer's career happens in the studio. And so I try to put as much artistic emphasis and technical emphasis in the studio as I do on stage, because I think it only lifts you up, and it only makes you a stronger dancer in the long run.